Good day, everyone. I am Erin, and today I will be sharing about my project on video science communication focused on communicating climate change impacts. To start off, I'd like to first ask you a question. What comes to mind when you hear the words climate change? Now, for many of us in the sciences, it would probably be data, charts, and models predicting the different possible futures for Earth. But outside of the lab, climate change is just another buzzword that people scroll past through on their phones. Even so, the impacts of climate change are already here. In the Philippines, storms are no longer what they used to be. Nowadays, storms can rip off roofs from houses and bring about floods taller than the average Filipino. These are what we call super typhoons, and they used to come only a few times every decade. But since 2020, our country has been hit by at least one super typhoon every year. To make matters worse, sometimes it doesn't even take a typhoon to paint an equally scary picture. Sometimes all it takes is an enhanced monsoon wind bringing about rains that flood entire cities and displace hundreds of people from their phones. But beyond of these lived realities, most people only hear and learn about climate change through social media. They watch videos made by influencers and content creators telling them how climate change is happening and how greenhouse gases are slowly warming the Earth's climate. The problem with these, though, is that most people are left thinking, why does it matter if the Earth warms by just 1 or 2 degrees? You see, that is the problem. Most of these videos focus on the what. They rarely delve into why you should even care and how you can actually help. A study in 2020 found that 71% of climate videos on YouTube mentioned some sort of environmental impact, but only 33% of these videos mentioned concrete solutions. From here, we can see that there is a gap between action and the information that we provide them. And that is where my project comes in. So for my project, I looked into what research tells us about communicating science and climate change and applying those for making videos that are centered around climate change impacts. Based from what I've read on literature, I've gathered here today 6 key insights that I would like to share with you. So the first insight is to resonate with stories and not lists. When communicating about climate change, facts are important, but they stick better when they are told as stories. Structuring your message as a story creates coherence and establishes emotional connection by introducing characters, settings, and events that people can find more relatable. For example, instead of just listing various agricultural risks to climate change, we can instead tell them a story about a farmer's family who is suffering from food shortages. This turns your data into a story that people can better relate, remember, and resonate with. The second is to spark curiosity to hold attention. Videos nowadays need to capture attention quickly. Using techniques like asking a surprising question, violating expectations, or highlighting knowledge gaps can easily spark their curiosity and hold their attention long enough for them to actually absorb the message that you want to convey. Now, after structuring your message as a story and grabbing your audience's attention, the next thing to note is to streamline the length and refine your video style. Research shows that shorter videos tend to perform better in today's fast-paced media outlets. Meanwhile, in terms of style, both live action and animated videos have their own strengths. One humanizes while the other clarifies. The key here is to strike a balance and find the right length and style that best suits and serves the audience and the message that you want to convey. Now, the fourth insight is to balance fear with hope. When communicating about climate change, fear and hope are the most prominent emotions. However, research has found that fear alone can easily overwhelm a person, whereas fear followed by hope can be much more persuasive. For example, instead of just showing the devastating impacts of a flood, we can immediately follow it up with how communities are slowly rebuilding their homes and transitioning into more climate resilient infrastructure. This allows your audience to not only grasp the gravity and the urgency of the situation, but also glimpse the possible future that we can all have if we work together to make a change. Now, after structuring your message according to these four insights, the next thing to note is to choose your messenger strategically. The person who delivers your message will shape how it is received. Scientists offer accuracy and credibility, whereas influencers and celebrities usually have wider audience reach. Studies suggest that by having collaborations between these two fields, we may be able to make videos that are more impactful as they capitalize not only on the credibility of science, but also the wider reach of popular culture. Moving on, we have our last but definitely not the least insight, which is to measure what truly matters. Strategies alone cannot work in isolation. They need to be paired with quantitative metrics and not just views, likes, and shares, but also qualitative ones that give you a better insight as to whether your audience gained a better understanding, more motivation, or a clear sense on how to proceed with the problem. Put together, these insights show that effective videos do not just explain the science. They connect science with lived experiences, pair threats with solutions, and build trust using relatable voices. However, knowing these principles is just one thing. The real challenge and the focus of my project is putting these things into practice. So to do this, I created a short video based on my SciWorthy article. This one is about a new material developed to help clean up oil spills. While the problem may be a bit different from climate change, the overall challenge remains the same. How do we communicate complex science in a way that people can better understand and resonate with? So I'd like to share this video with you now. May I also request to inform me if you can hear the video sound?
Sounds good.
Oil spills are tough to clean up. In just minutes, blue seas can turn into black sludge, taking up weeks or even months to restore. To help, scientists are exploring a super lightweight solid called an aerogel. It's mostly made of air. In fact, an iPhone-sized aerogel can weigh less than a paperclip. And since it's highly porous, it can soak up lots of oil like a sponge on overdrive. Scientists have tried making aerogels from natural sources like crab shells and seaweed, but those dissolved too easily and were not strong enough. Researchers at NUS designed a new aerogel that strongly repels water, stays strong, and can be reused many times. Tests showed that the new aerogel was 9.5 times stronger and 3 times more elastic than previous materials. This durable and reusable aerogel can soak up huge amounts of oil, making it a strong tool for cleaning up oil spills. By designing materials at multiple scales, scientists are creating greener and smarter solutions for the planet.
While that was a short example, the video illustrates the larger potential that science videos hold. If we can communicate something as complex as material science in an understandable and accessible way, then surely we can do the same for climate change impacts, whose stakes are far greater and whose need for action is much more urgent. This is this is where I position this is where I position my project at the intersection of these gaps between video science communication and climate urgency. It seeks to highlight the untapped potential of using proven video strategies to make climate impacts more vivid, more relatable, and more actionable. And while this was just an initial review, it highlights the potential of making a more extensive study that combines these different strategies, formats, and metrics into one cohesive framework. By transforming passive awareness into public engagement, efficacy, and active participation, we can inform, inspire, and empower, ultimately contributing to the global momentum for immediate climate action.
Awesome. Fantastic job, Erin. Do we have any questions or comments from the audience? You can type in the chat, or you can also raise your hand and I can call on you. Sanjoy?
Erin, thank you for this wonderfully inspiring presentation. Are you going to make additional videos? Are you going to write additional articles? Are you going to stay involved with SciWorthy?
I hope to have more articles through SciWorthy. As for the video, it would probably depend on the availability of my time because I also have other activities, but I would be open to it.